शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
As we said yesterday, the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita opens with a question from Arjuna, who wants to know what form of worship he should have been doing. And we said yesterday, in the chapters until 11 chapters, Lord Krishna has described Ishvara in two ways: Lord with attributes and Lord without attributes. Not that there are two Lords or two Ishvaras, there is one Ishvara alone. An Ishvara who is described as Satyam Jnanamanantam, truth, consciousness, infinite. In true nature is beyond all the attributes, beyond all the names, beyond all the forms, beyond all the attributes. Just as an actor who assumes variety of roles, such as a beggar, such as a king, such as a minister, he pervades all of them. He is the beggar, he is the king, he is the minister also. At the same time, he transcends all of them. He is neither a beggar, nor a king, nor a minister. Because if he was any one of them, he could not be the other. Beggar cannot be king, and king cannot be minister, etc. But if you find actor, now a beggar, then a king, a minister, which means that the actor is beyond all the three. He pervades all the three and he transcends all the three. This is very important to know, that there is only one actor, pervading all the roles, at the same time transcending all the roles. What is transcending? Not confined to any one role, not affected by any role. So we can say that this king or a beggar or a minister, all of these are superimpositions upon the actor. When an actor puts on the costume of a king, you can say that the king is superimposed upon the actor. When he puts on the costume of a beggar, you can say that the beggar is superimposed upon the actor. And thus, when he assumes different roles, all those different aspects are superimposed upon the actor. Actor does not become the beggar is superimposed upon the actor. Actor does not become the beggar, actor appears as a beggar. Actor does not become the king, actor appears as a king. So also one Ishvara, one Brahman or Paramatma. who transcends all the names, forms and attributes, nevertheless assumes all the forms and names and attributes. And that is how the names and forms and attributes are superimposed upon Brahman. To explain this, Upanishads describe how in the beginning of creation, Ishvara created all the names and forms and entered into them. Tat srishtva tadevanu pravishada. Tat srishtva, having created them, he entered them. So imagine, first all the costumes are created and Ishvara enters the costume. That's the way of saying. Like an actor enters the costume of a beggar, an actor enters the costume of a king, etc. Entering, superimposing. So what we call Saguna Brahman, meaning Brahman with attributes. It's not Brahman with attribute, Brahman upon which attributes are superimposed. Because Brahman and attribute do not enjoy the same degree of reality, just as the actor and the beggar. It is not that the actor is the beggar, upon actor the idea of beggar is superimposed. So actor with beggarliness, actor with kingliness, actor with ministerness, etc. But this ness, the kingness, the beggarness, the ministerness, all of these are superimposed upon the actor. Even while acting as a beggar, the actor retains his true form because the beggar is only confined to the costume, does not affect or trust the actor in any way. Similarly, Ishvara has assumed all the costume. He has assumed the whole costume of the whole universe, of all the names and forms. But then, it is not that he possesses or he is names and forms. The names and forms are all superimposed upon him. So here, there is mixing of two degrees of realities. Like actor assuming the role of a beggar, there is a mixing of two degrees of realities. Actor is a real person, beggar is mithya or superimposition. In Vedanta, we would say actor is satyam, the beggar is mithya. In satyam assumes the form of the superimposes the costume of mithya. The satyam appears in the costume of mithya. So Ishvara has assumed all these costumes of names and forms. And Ishvara being Ishvara simultaneously assumes all infinite countless names and forms and appears as though possessed of them. But understand that he has not become this. So Ishvara has entered this costume of name and form, has as though become Jiva, not really become Jiva. The Shiva has not become Jiva. The Shiva appears as Jiva. The only problem is that Shiva has as though forgotten that his true nature is Shiva and he thinks that I am a Jiva. Like an actor under the influence of alcohol might think that I am really a beggar, forgetting that beggar is merely a costume. So this is what has happened. Shiva has not become Jiva. Shiva thinks that I am a Jiva. And then suffers from the sense of being a Jiva. Just the notion is enough for us to suffer. it is not necessary that Shiva must actually become Jiva to suffer from a sense of Jiva. Even if you think that I am Jiva, that is enough for him to suffer. If a rope appears as a snake, there need not be a real snake for us to be afraid or scared. The idea of snake is enough to make me scared. So the notion of the snake creates in my mind the same effect that a real snake would create. So just because I am afraid does not mean that there is a real reason for being afraid, understand? Just because the jiva is suffering from misery does not mean that there has to be a real reason for suffering. It can be only due to the notions. The wrong notions that we entertain about ourselves, the wrong perception that we entertain about ourselves, that is what makes us unhappy. There is no reason for us to be unhappy. Each one of us is just Shiva, assuming his role. And therefore, Shiva has not become Jiva, not become a man or a woman, etc. They are all costumes. But then Shiva thinks that I have really become this, I am really a man or a woman or whatever. And therefore takes himself to be a limited being and suffers from a sense of limitation. This explanation is given is an important explanation because then alone we can understand the intent or purport behind the teaching that you are Brahman. You cannot say that I am Brahman if I am not Brahman. Upanishad says, hey, you are Brahman. It does not say you will become Brahman, understand? It says you are Brahman. As you are Brahman. Even as I am, with this body, this insignificant little, personality, yes? Because all insignificance lies only at the level of personality. It has nothing to do with the person putting on this personality. Here there is a combination of person and personality. The person happens to be Shiva, Brahman. So this is the individual level. Assume the cosmic level. At the cosmic level also, Ishvara has put on the costume of the cosmos. You call it Maya, and appears as the whole universe. And then performs the roles of creator, sustainer, dissolver. So Brahman is called creator, sustainer, dissolver, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, the ruler, ordainer. All of these ideas are superimposed upon Brahman. Brahman, Bhagavan, is not created in primary sense. Creation takes place all at the level of Maya, level of costume. Everything is happening at the level of costume. But we superimpose ideas and call Brahman as creator, sustainer, dissolver, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Thus we call it Saguna Brahman, Brahman with attributes. So, whom can we worship? We can worship Brahman or God with attributes. Because our mind always functions in the realm of attributes. Our mind functions in the realm of names and forms and attributes. Therefore, it is easy for us to worship God with attributes as omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, as all powerful, as all merciful. Therefore, In Bhagavad Gita, Lord is described as possessed of all these various attributes. That I am the father of the universe, I am the mother of the universe, I am the grandfather of the universe. I am the ultimate goal, I am the dispenser of the results of action, I am the refuge of all. I create, I sustain, I dissolve. Thus Lord Krishna describes himself in these terms as though he possesses all these attributes. So thus, Brahman, upon whom the attributes are superimposed, you call it Saguna Brahman, who remains transcending attributes in his true nature, like actor upon whom the various roles are superimposed, but even then also he remains, he transcends all the attributes. So don't think there are two gods. Only one and only one. But the absolute reality and the relative reality. There are thus two degrees of reality, absolute and relative. To explain this, you must have, I'm sure, at one point in time, listened to the stories of Puranas and how the Lord takes incarnation. So the Puranas describe there are so many demons now on the earth and creating such an amount of chaos and disorder and harassing and torturing the people. There is so much of adharma is going on, so much of the unrighteousness prevailing now, that the earth cannot sustain the load anymore and goes to Brahma. That you have created this world, please help me, please save me from this burden. Brahma says, creation is my job, sustenance is job of Lord Vishnu. So you have to go to him. So Brahma, earth becomes takes the form of a cow, and Brahma and Devatas, all of them go to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is only lying down in his serpent bed in Yoga Nidra, half asleep and half contemplating. Now he can't, sitting there, he cannot do anything here. So when these Devatas pray to him, please help us, then he announces that, okay, I will take the incarnation, I will incarnate on the earth. Thus, he takes the incarnation as Rama, Lord Krishna, etc. Meaning, the absolute reality comes down to the level of the relative reality. Because all samsara is the level of that's the level of costume. All samsara is the level of costumes. It's all drama, real play. But we take it real and therefore we suffer. And therefore the Lord also assumes as though the real, that's what we call avatara, incarnation. When he assumes a role, assumes a costume, becomes Lord Krishna. So here in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is described, Ishvara, in both of these ways. And you can worship him either way, depending upon how it suits you, depending upon the disposition of your mind, depending upon your preference. So we have different preferences, therefore different forms are given to us. Some people have preferences for a lot of show and glitter, and therefore they generally prefer to worship Lord Vishnu or his incarnation, because always lots of show and lot of ornaments, a lot of garments and lot of music and a lot of food and all the glory goes with him because Shri or Lakshmi is the consort of Lord Vishnu. Some people have preference for simplicity and they like Lord Shiva, who has no ornaments, no nothing. He is simply sitting in the cremation ground with the ashes smeared on his body. Some people just love that. Others love Lord in the form of mother. They seek protection as child. This is all Saguna Brahman. Brahman with attributes. So the question is, what is superior? What is better? Worshipping Ishvara with attributes or Ishvara who transcends all the attributes? Now how do you worship Ishvara without the attributes? You can't worship him because there is nothing, the offering of your actions, offering of flowers, all of this take place when there is an altar. So this bhakti or the devotion or making offerings are all possible only with Ishvara with attributes. Then Ishvara beyond the attributes becomes the object of knowledge. He has to be known as our own self. Thus, Ishvara is contemplated or meditated in two ways. One way in which there remains a duality between the devotee and Bhagavan, where the devotee meditates upon Bhagavan, on his attributes, on his glories, and becomes absorbed in that. The other one, on the other hand, is the one who meditates or contemplates upon the Lord as his own self. Which Lord? The Lord that transcends all the attributes is contemplated upon as one's own self. Because the self is without all the attributes. The self is consciousness. And consciousness eliminates all the attributes. We become aware of all the attributes in consciousness. So consciousness eliminates attributes. Eliminated is always different from what is eliminated. Eliminated is always unaffected by what is eliminated. Like the light here illumines all the colors of the dresses or clothes in this room the people wearing. The light itself does not become colored. Light illumines the orange color, doesn't become orange. Light is illuminator, color is illumined. Similarly, consciousness is illuminator. Illumines all the attributes. Illumines goodness, illumines badness, illumines whatever there is, all is illumined by the consciousness. And therefore, consciousness itself is free from all the attributes. So who am I and who are you? We are nothing but Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Sat, Chit, Ananda or consciousness. There is only one entity which is Nirguna or which is without attributes, and that is the self. So when they talk of Brahman without attributes, when they talk of Brahman or God beyond attributes, it amounts to the self. And therefore, the Vedantins contemplate upon Ishvara as a very self. There is an attempt of erasing the duality between the meditator and the meditated. So here is the meditation upon the meditator. When it comes to worshipping Ishvara with attributes, then the meditator is different, what is meditated is different. Ultimately, the meditation becomes so intense that the meditator disappears and becomes one with meditated. There also oneness comes ultimately. You understand that when you meditate on Lord Shiva, on Lord Krishna, or your chosen form, your chosen name, chosen deity, with love and devotion, that love or devotion can grow in such intensity that you just get melted. Love melts all the differences. And therefore the worshippers of Saguna Brahma approach Ishvara with love, with devotion. And ultimately in that intensity of devotion, that duality melts, and then also the devotee becomes one with Ishvara. So in this chapter we are told that the result is one. Worshipping Ishvara with attributes also ultimately culminates into non-duality. And of course, Ishvara, when he is contemplated upon himself, then of course there is non-duality, because you begin with non-duality. So Arjuna is asking, which one is better? Which one is superior? Evam satayuktaye bhaktastvam paryupasade yecha pyaksharma vyaktam tesham ke yoga viktamaha. Lord, there are those devotees of you who worship you with attributes, and there are others who contemplate upon you who is beyond the attributes. Of the two, which are superior? In fact, Arjuna is not interested in knowing who is better. Arjuna wants to know what I should do. But you always want to do that which is superior. Therefore he is asking, what is superior? But that means that what should I do? Oh Lord, should I worship you with attributes, or should I contemplate upon you who is beyond attributes? Understand that there are two people with different dispositions. The people who contemplate or meditate upon Ishvara as a self, their mind is totally introvert, because meditating upon self, the mind is totally introvert. There is no activity whatever. In that contemplation, there is no activity whatever. So they are ideally sannyasis. Those who have given up all the actions, who have renounced all the actions. And when can you renounce the action? When you have no desires. Because action is the result of a desire. When can action be dropped? When your mind has become free from desires. When does the mind become free from desire? When you realize that fulfilling desire doesn't make sense. Why does it not make sense? Because desire arises from a sense of inadequacy, incompleteness. But if you are already a complete being, where is the scope of desire? So some people are able to think like this. The self is Brahman by nature. It is complete. I am a complete being by nature. Even though it is not my experience right now, I know that completeness or wholeness is my nature. And a desire arises from a sense of incompleteness. Therefore, the sense of incompleteness is false, is wrong. Even though my mind feels incomplete, it is not a legitimate. Desire is not legitimate thing. So they dismiss the desires. So that is how by viveka or discrimination they are able to overcome all the desires, recognizing the futility of desire. That desire arises from a sense of inadequacy. But how can there be inadequacy in the self that is complete? Therefore, inadequacy or incompleteness that I am feeling is not real. So there are those who have become free from all the desires by this viveka or discrimination. Ishanatra tyaga means becoming free from threefold desires. The putraishana, vittaishana, lokeshana. Desire for progeny, desire for wealth, desire for the other worlds. We do not want, so there are three worlds. Our scriptures talk of three words. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Bhuhu, this earth. Bhuva, the intermediate world. Swaha or Suvaha, the heaven. There are these people who are not interested in this. They're all anatma. These three words with increasing degrees of pleasure, and nevertheless non-self, is it not so? They say that we are interested in Atmaloka. We are interested in the realm that is a self. What do we have to do with Anatmaloka? Those who are interested in the self, what do we do with this non-self? However exalted it may be, they are still non-self. And desires can only be the non-self. Therefore they do not see any point in having desire at all. When the mind is free from desire, all extrovertedness is gone. Mind becomes totally introverted. And that is the kind of mind we require for contemplating upon Ishvara as a self. For worshipping Ishvara with attributes, you don't need a mind totally resolved. Because you need an active mind which worships, which meditates, which offers, which worships. So you see here the difference between worshipping Ishvara with attributes and worshipping Ishvara beyond the attributes. You should understand the difference. Ishvara, beyond all the attributes, is contemplated upon as a self. And when can you contemplate upon self? When your mind is free from all extrovertedness. What causes extrovertedness? The desire. But desire is product of ignorance. And therefore, with viveka or discrimination, this discriminating people become free from all desires. Their mind is totally inward looking. And therefore, they contemplate upon the self, which is free from all the attributes. Thus, two kinds of devotees are described here. Devotees who meditate upon Ishvara with attributes, and devotees who contemplate upon Ishvara as the very self. Arjuna is asking, who are superior? Lord Krishna says, the worshippers of Saguna Brahma, worshippers of Brahman with attributes are superior. Why does he say that? In order to encourage Arjuna to do that. So let us read our verse number 1 here. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya to Arjuna's question, which of these bhaktas or devotees are superior, Lord Krishna praises here the worship of Lord with attributes. Because that requires less concentration of mind than contemplating upon Lord beyond attributes. And therefore, the worship of Saguna Brahma is relatively easier than the contemplation upon Nirguna Brahma. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Mai aveshya manoyamam ye mai mana aveshya. Those people who have fixed their mind on me, those who understand that worshipping Saguna Brahma also is not easy. There also the mind requires to be free from all the concerns of samsara. Yesterday a question was asked, Swamiji, I am trying to fix my mind on Durga. I want to meditate upon Durga. But then the different thoughts occur in my mind and they distract my mind. So yes, even meditating upon Ishvara with attributes, even meditating on Lord Shiva, Krishna or anything is not easy. Because our vasanas, our ragadveshas, our likes and dislikes, they distract our mind. You follow? Because mind has attachments, mind has aversions. It is attached to many things of the world which it looks upon as source of happiness, as security. And so, there are many things without which I cannot do. For my well-being, certain things are required, I feel. For my happiness, I require certain things. So thus, for every average human being, there are many important things in the world. There are many people and things that are important for their sense of well-being, sense of security, sense of happiness. There is raga or attachment for them. And when there is an attachment, there is also going to be aversion because there are always some others who come in the way of your attachment to these and they become the objects of aversion. Attachment and aversion, raga and dvesha. That is what our mind is made of. And we generally relate to the world with raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. If we pay attention to how the mind functions, we will find this. That whenever we come across or confront anybody, the mind first decides, this is mine or not? My side or the other side? Is my friend or not? Is my benefactor or not? Useful or not? The mind first decides. Who is my benefactor? Is helpful to me, useful to me. Then there is one kind of feeling for that person or thing. On the other hand, if the mind judges that this person is inimical, is adversarial, then mind has a different kind of attitude for that person. Is it not so? So we don't see people as they are. We see them through the glasses of likes and dislikes, attachments and aversions. So thus this mind, which is filled with attachment and aversion, has a difficulty in concentrating on anything, particularly concentrating upon Ishvara or deity. So even worshipping God is not easy. That also requires us the ability to withdraw our mind from its preoccupations with the worldly things and focus upon the object of meditation. So that also is difficult. But more difficult is other things where the mind doesn't have any kind of a support of the name and form. That's even more difficult. But this is also, don't think bhakti is easy, so bhakti is easy. Just because we think that we are doing some puja, etc., that bhaktas, that action is not called bhakti. It's a real devotion within the heart that's called bhakti. And those puja, etc., are means of cultivating the devotion, so that it's good to do those things. We'll talk about that. So here Lord Krishna talks about in this verse that we just read, Bhakta is a very high category. Maya Vaishya Manoyamang. Those people whose mind is completely engrossed in me. Nitya Yukta. They are always centered upon me, day and night. What a kind of bhakta he must be, who day and night is centered upon Bhagavan and he is absorbed in him. Nityukta upasate, those who meditate upon me, worship me. Shraddhaya paraya upetaha, endowed with paraya shraddhaya, the supreme shraddha. So worship of Brahman with attribute requires shraddha. That God is the creator, sustainer, dissolver, omniscient, omnipotent, all of these we learn from scriptures and we accept all of that in faith. It makes sense also, of course. We don't accept it blindly. It makes sense that when the Lord creates a universe, He must have the knowledge of what He creates. Because the Creator must have the knowledge of what to create. The Creator must have the power of what to create. I can't make a pot because I don't have the skill to make a pot. I don't have the knowledge and the skill. A pot maker does it very easily. So Creator must have the knowledge, the skill, the ability to create. So a God who has created the whole universe must have the knowledge of the whole universe. He must be omniscient, omnipotent. All this makes sense, but we would accept it. Then he listens to all the prayers. Swami, does God listen to prayer? He's omnipotent, he is omnipresent. That he is present everywhere, and that he must be listening to. But Swami, which language? Sanskrit language? Any language, because he understands all languages. He is all-knowing. But Swami, does he answer our prayers? Well, prayer is an action, therefore he should answer. An action must give rise to a result. But Swami, I am praying and nothing happens. It seems to all fall on the deaf ears. Does he listen to me? He must be listening to you, but then he has to decide whether to grant your prayer or not. But why does he not grant my prayer? Maybe it is not in your best interest. Just because a child makes demands upon mother does not mean that mother will necessarily fulfill all the desires of the child. An astute mother doesn't do that. A wise mother will not fulfill all the demands of the child. Because there could be some demand which are not in the best interest of the child, mother will refuse to give him candy. When the fellow is suffering with cough and cold and he wants candy, she won't give it. The child may think mother is cruel, but then she has to be cruel to be kind. So very often God appears to be cruel. Then comes Shraddha. That even though he appears to be cruel, he must be kind. He cannot be cruel. He cannot be a punishing God. So does he punish me? Does he take revenge? No. Why should he punish you? Does he hate me? Why should he hate you? He always loves. Because he is the embodiment of love. The ultimate truth of the universe is love, or joy, or knowledge, or consciousness, or truth, or existence, whatever name you use, they all amount to the same thing. And therefore, the ultimate truth, which is called God, is embodiment of love. And therefore, He can only love you. He can shower His grace upon you. But Swami, what a way of showering grace. Why does He give me all these problems? Then comes the matter of Shraddha, the benefit of doubt, that He knows what He is doing. He knows what is good for me. Maybe He knows that He knows better what is good for me. He took away something from me. Maybe He must have known that it is not good for me in the long run. I am stuck with something. Maybe He thinks that is good for me. So devotee is the one with Shraddha. Because if you don't have the Shraddha or that implicit trust, then it is difficult to concentrate the mind, because then there are doubts whether He really cares for me or not, He listens to me or not. Here the devotee is totally assured that He is my refuge, He is my protector, and therefore I have nothing to fear, I have nothing to worry. Even if He snatches everything away from me, I am sure that it must be for my good. Whatever He does is for my good. This is the trust that in Bhakta is called Shraddhaya Paraya Upeta. Those who are endowed with unflinching faith. The Shraddha creates a bond between the devotee and Ishvara. Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Teme Yukta Tamamataha. Here Arjuna, in my opinion, they are the most exalted yogis. So Lord Krishna says, those who worship me with attributes and meditate upon me, always offer their actions to me, they always remember me, I'm always at the center of their life. Mat-chittaha, mat-gata-pranaha. Earlier Lord described as such devotees, mat-chittaha, whose mind is centered on me. Mat-gata-pranaha, whose actions and whose even life also is sent, they live for me. And whatever they do, they all do it for me. Bodhiyantah parasparam. When they talk amongst each other, they talk only about me. Kathayantasya nityam. When they do any katha, when some dishonor comes, they only talk of me. Tushyanti charamanti cha. Always satisfied, always reveling in me. Lord Krishna says, those devotees I consider as superior. Meaning that this chapter praises the devotees of Saguna Brahma. Not because it is better or nothing is better or worse. But Lord Krishna knows that Arjuna's fitness is in worshipping Ishvara with attributes. And therefore, to encourage him, he here says that worshippers of God's attributes are superior. How are the other persons? Those who contemplate upon Ishvara without attributes. The next two verses describe them. Let us read those verses. Ye tvaksharamanirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyancha kutasthamachalan dhruvam sanniyamyendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataः. In these two verses, Lord Krishna describes the devotees of Nirguna Brahman, those who concentrate upon Nirguna Brahman, Brahman beyond attributes. And that is called Aksharam. If you read the verse, see we have given the word meaning also. Every word is separated and meaning is given. Two, however, ye, those who paryupasate, meditate in every way. Aksharam, the immutable. Anirdesham, indescribable. Avyaktam, unmanifest. Sarvatragam, all pervasive. Achintyam, that which is beyond thinking. Kutastham, which is changeless. Achalam, immovable. Dhruvam, eternal. So, all these characteristics are given in this verse. This verse describes Brahman, the absolute reality, which transcends all the attributes. That is described in so many words. Basically, this is the way of teaching of the Upanishads. You must have heard this, neti neti. The Upanishads teach about Brahman in this negative way, neti neti, not this, not this, not this. It is not gross, it is not subtle, it is not short, it is not long, it is not red, it is not this. Long list of what it is not is given. In many Upanishads, we find Brahman being described in this language of what it is not. Adreshyam, Agrahyam, Agotram, Achakshushrotram, Tadapanipadam, Mundakopanishad says, Adreshyam, that which cannot be perceived. Agotram, which has no soul, which has no root. Adreshyam, Agrahyam, which cannot be grasped by the sense organs. And like this, in different Upanishads, in different words, basically the attributes are negated. Nantah prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no bhayatah prajnam, na prajnanadhanam, na prajnam, na prajnam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, etc., etc. So not this, meaning that in communicating what is the nature of ultimate reality, the scriptures communicate only the language of negation. You tell me, how can you, suppose here is a flower. So if I tell you, this is not an elephant, it's not a horse, it's not a dog, it's not a table, it's not a chair, it's not a clock, it's not a microphone, will it give you knowledge of what it is? How can you know, or how can you communicate something in this kind of a language? This is a clock, for example. I say it's not a flower, it's not a pot, it's not a table, it's not a chair. If I keep on telling what it is not, will you ever know this? No. Then how come Upanishad keep on telling you it is not this? We read all this. Aksharam means immutable, which is not mutable. Anirdesham, which cannot be described in words, non-describable. Avyaktam, unmanifest, So, means not. So, when the Upanishads use the language of negating, how do they hope to communicate the truth or that Brahman to the disciple? How is it possible? How can you ever know? Can you ever know something when you are told what it is not? In fact, you should be told what it is. The only you can know, is it not? That this is a flower, it is pink in color, it has 27 petals, it has one stem that is green. In this manner, if this object is described, then you can know it. If the object is described as not an elephant, not a horse, not a table, how will you know it? So rather than saying what Brahman is, it is saying what Brahman is not. How can you know it?
Do you have to experience information?
It's not the object, it's the subject.
Because it is already known. And because not only it is already known, but because it is already known, therefore we have many wrong notions about it. It is my very self, which is self-evident, therefore I always know myself. The self or consciousness is always experienced by me, is known. But unfortunately, along with the self, I am superimposing what the self is not. As I said, that there is a lot of superimposition takes place. That's called dhyaropa. Therefore, it is not necessary to tell you that you are. I know that I am. But upon that I superimpose the idea that I am a limited being, I am perishable, I am mortal, I am small, I am fat, I am lean. This is what I think. So, in Brahman, which is already experienced or known as my very self, upon that, lot of superimposition is taking place. So all that is necessary is to remove the superimposition, and after that, what remains is pure you. Right now also I am experiencing Brahman as a self. Understand? We don't have to experience Brahman, we are experienced because we are Brahman. So you can say that we are experiencing Brahman as a self right now also. But along with the self, the non-self also is added on. So body also is taken to be the self, and mind also is taken to be the self, and sense organs also are taken to be the self. And therefore, because I take the body to be myself, I think that I was born and I am going to die. Because the mind is taken to be the self, so I think I am happy, so I am unhappy. So Upanishad wants to say that no, this is not, they are all superimpositions. So what is negated is superimposition. You understand? Therefore, that's a different kind of a mind. The mind that contemplates upon Ishvara with all the glories is one kind of mind where you superimpose the glories upon Ishvara and enjoy, meditates upon that. Here is a mind that negates all the attributes and contemplates upon that. See, different kinds of minds are required, you understand? Nothing is superior, not that one is superior, other is inferior, but two different kinds of minds or two different adhikaris, or two different kinds of students are there. Therefore, two methods of approaching Ishvara are there. One is with attributes for most of the people for whom they find it comfortable and easier to do that. For a very rare few, there is contemplation upon Ishvara where all attributes are negated. He is meditated upon as a self. So paryupasate, ye paryupasate, those who meditate in every way, who contemplate in every way. Aksharam, naksharati, in the aksharam. So that aksharam is immutable. That which is indestructible. Aksharam, which is imperishable, immutable. Why am I told this? Because I think I am perishable, I am mortal. And there is no, you are imperishable. So from the I, remove the perishable. Right now, when I think of I think of myself as a mortal or perishable being. Says, no, you are imperishable. Therefore, remove perishable. Aksharam, anirdesham, that which cannot be described in words. There is no word that can really describe Brahman. Even word Brahman also cannot describe Brahman. Because every word creates a concept in our mind. The word has a capacity of creating a concept in the mind. But God is not a concept. And therefore, no word, even Atma, Brahman, no word can describe it. It can point out but not describe it. So Vedanta says that you know Brahman not by Vachyartha, you know Brahman by Lakshyartha. Not by the literal meaning, by the implied meaning. So what Brahman will make us know Brahman by Lakshyartha, implied meaning, not by Vachyartha, the literal meaning. Anirdeshyam, that which cannot be described in words. Why is so? Because avyaktam, unmanifest. What is manifest? Manifest is that which is the object of perception. We have the 5 organs of perception. And so with eyes, ears, we perceive the different objects. But anyway. Idu aksharam anirdesham, abhyaktam, not manifest to the senses. The self can be perceived. It is a very perceiver. It is that because of which the eyes see. The eyes cannot see the self. Self is that because of which the eyes see. The consciousness cannot be seen by the eyes. It is that because of which the eyes see. Consciousness cannot be heard by the ears. It is that because of which the ears hear. Yadvacha anabhidam yenavad abhyudyate. That which cannot be uttered by the speech, but that because of which the speech utters. Abhyaktam, unmanifest. Sarvatragam, all pervasive meaning, it is formless. All pervasive means it is formless. Because what is having a form is confined to space. All pervading, not confined to space, meaning not having a form, formless. So then also a negation is involved. Achintyam cannot be thought of. The mind cannot objectify Brahman. It is there because of which the mind thinks. Yad manasan manude yen ahur manomatam, that which cannot be meditated or that which cannot be thought of by the mind, but that because of which the mind thinks. Kutastham, changeless. Kuta, kutastham. This is kuta. Kuta means anvil. You know what's an anvil? Like a goldsmith has an anvil upon which he makes different ornaments. An ironsmith has an anvil upon which he makes different articles. So imagine a goldsmith making variety of ornaments. An ornament comes, it is shaped, it goes. And the ornament comes, shapes and goes. So changes take place in ornaments. With all those changes, the anvil itself remains changeless, understand? So anvil is an example of changelessness. Among the changes, that which is changeless among the changes. Kutastham, kutavat tishtade. That which remains like an anvil, that which remains like changeless. So kutastham, changeless. Achalam. Chalam means moving. Chalam. Achalam, immovable, motionless. The motion is in space. The change is in time. No motion in time, no motion in space. Dhruvam. Dhruvam here means eternal. Means not limited in time, all pervasive, not limited in space, not limited in any way. So here, this is not to frustrate us that this is said, to help us to let go of all your notions about yourself. When all the notions are let go, then what remains is pure consciousness. For meditating upon Lord like that, what kind of qualifications are required was described in the third verse. Sanniyamya indriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. To contemplate upon the self of Brahman without all the attributes You require a mind that is totally free from all distractions. Free from all distraction, free from all disturbance. What kind of mind will it be? Or how can you attain that mind? So it says, Sanyamya Indriya, having complete mastery over all the sense organs. This activity of sense organs also can disturb the mind. If the eyes have a habit of just wandering, then they see different forms and impressions are there in the mind, so mind gets disturbed. If the ears have a habit of just listening to what is happening around, that will disturb the mind. If the hands have a habit of doing something or the other, disturb the mind. You understand? If organs of perception or organs of action, if they are not steady, if they are not without activity, if they in some way are also active, then activity of the sense organs, it creates disturbance in mind. For the mind to be undisturbed, it is necessary that there are no activities whatever at the level of senses. We have 5 senses of perception and we have 5 senses of action. So we hear, we touch, we see, we taste, we smell, we speak, we grasp, we move, we release. If all the activities are stopped, then the mind can be able to meditate steadily. Sanyamya Indriya Gramam. Therefore, we should acquire a mastery over our sense organs. Eyes will see if I want them to see and what I want them to see, and they will not see just because they want to see whatever they want to see. The ears will hear if I want them to hear and what I want them to hear, and not without my permission. So one who has complete mastery over all the sense organs of perception and organs of action. Other thing that can disturb the mind is all this diversity and variety. When we relate to the world with diversity or variety, then raga, dvesha, or attachment, aversions are created. Because at the surface level, everything is different from everything else. Every human being is different from every other human being. And again, human beings are different from different animals, different plants. There is such a variety. No two things are identical.